So pardon me for preempting your normal footage here. I saw this one come in and I wanted to let everybody know that in comparison to our previous footage, you do have the option of applying a 10.7 cubic foot 12 volt compressor refrigerator in this Freedom Express. And I thought, hey, it'd be cool if I let people know that. And then I walked through here and went, wait a minute, something's missing. And then I went, what? Freedom Express has gone carpetless across the board, and that is a big deal. New Freedom Express 326 BH DS 8165 pounds here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan, shown today in a beautiful loaded up Liberty edition. This is very similar to something like a 310 BHDS Freedom Express, except it puts the super slide on the door side, splits the awning so that you're getting great patio coverage, and it also adds a half bath right into the bunk room while still maintaining a full-size outside kitchen. It does a lot of cool, new, awesome things that haven't really been too readily available in the Freedom Express family, although we are still going to get the benefit of that taller interior, the AZDEL, the wide stance axles, and all those other good things that you've come to really expect from this brand. And really, one of the only drawbacks to this model is that with that door side slide closed, you're not really getting through anything. There's no little corner, there's no getting around the bend that you can sneak through or anything like that. She's pretty much closed off. But this thing's still so good, I think it's worth it when you get to your destination. And what I think they've done here is they found a really healthy balance between like daytime comfortable living space and family time, you know, kitchen, cooking, functions, storage. They've done a good job of blending together a lot of big, kind of lofty concepts here. So part of the reason this thing feels pretty good sized inside is the fact that it has a 3-inch taller interior measuring 6'9" instead of a more common 6.5 foot with or without a vaulted ceiling. Now, you hear that a lot from us here at Haylett RV because we zero in on a lot of RV brands that have taller interior ceilings because we know that people like them. Also, something that we tend to do on these things across the board is we will typically outfit these with a larger 15,000 BTU air conditioner instead of the standard 13.5, but that's a difference that you can't readily see. You will also notice how in Liberty Editions here especially, they really pump up the lights in these things. There's a ton of lights in here, so it is always nice, light, bright, comfortable, well lit. And we'll come back and look at the kitchen, but as long as we're staring at it, a Liberty Edition will always give us an 8 cubic foot fridge freezer. But in the brother to this, the Ultra, the one before Liberty, we will tend to put the larger 8 cubic fridge in our Freedom Expresses regardless. So one of the cool things here is we have a direct facing entertainment center. And that is one of the key differences between this and a 310 Freedom Express, which both of them could be described as a 2-slide private bedroom, private bunkhouse, travel trailer. The difference is when you flip-flop the slides, it puts the entertainment directly across from the sofa that's in there, and it gives it what I like to refer to as the no-neck record. Now, this TV is on a swing arm. I can come right over here if I want to have some family entertainment on a rainy day from the dining table, for instance. You can see that I can clearly crank that out and make that happen. If you're in the kitchen, frankly, just peek over your shoulder and still get a good look at it. Now, you'll find little LED accent lights in some of the cabinet panels as we go here. They're all in one switch, and they're very good for helping navigate the RV at night in what I like to call stealth mode for night light lighting. Down below the TV, we've got a handy little phone charger station on either side of that Bluetooth DVD stereo. A perfect little place to, again, keep the stuff charging up overnight so that, like today is a drizzly, crappy kind of rainy day. I don't know how much my family would want to be outside today. Well, maybe we can watch a little TV, play some games together, but at some point we each need our own little independent time, and it gives us the ability to do that. Electric space heating fireplace is part of the Liberty package, and now you don't have to use it for heat. It is LED visuals, and you can use it for just the lighting, and handy little shoe garage below. Notice what you don't see. Vents in the flooring. Freedom Expresses use cabinet ducted heating as opposed to floor vented heating. They are an extended season camper. This is not what is referred to as 4 seasons camper, so kind of keep in mind the differences that go into something like that. All of our windows in a Liberty Edition will have the nicer, like, roll-down shades, kind of a little more like a motorhome or a fifth wheel. You can see there's more of that LED accent panel lighting going on right there. And one of the cool things, if you're noticing, we are just absolutely loaded with campsite windows so that you get to see your campsite instead of either looking at the neighbors or drawing the shades because you don't want to look at the neighbor who's maybe not in his high school quarterback physical prime anymore, has a shirt off, and is probably drinking a cheap beer. Below those nice campsite windows, and I love that slide side airflow window right there, especially next to the door. Someone knocks on the door, you can kind of see who's here before you open up. We've got all of our sleeper seating, and keep in mind, the way that we're looking at this today, it could be different from what's in stock. This is just one example of a 326 we've had. Not necessarily an exact replication of every 326 we've had, but in a Liberty Edition, when you get a dinette, you will always get these full extension drawers. And I'd like to think that maybe the Liberty Edition helps you liberate your storage. See what it did? Bad jokes. It's all I got. I mean, I really don't have any good jokes. This is just all I can come up with, guys. Anyway, so over here we've got a trifold sleeper sofa. There could be different seating options available, such as like theater seating and whatnot. But this thing, you can sleep, you know, kids, cousins, friends, neighbors, uncles, brothers, sisters, brothers, cousins, uncles. You can sleep everybody in here. When we come back to the kitchen in just a minute, you'll note that there's not like a direct pantry right next to a refrigerator or something, where you're a little more accustomed to looking at them. But that's one of the things about RVs. It's not a house. You have to make smart little accommodations. And if you're okay with the fact that you have to take 2 steps to access this big floor-to-ceiling 6'9" pantry over here, you're going to be okay here. And I think that most folks will be able to overlook that. So what I love is how wide this thing is. It's deep enough. You can get boxes of cereal and stuff in there, but what's great is you don't have to go armpit deep to get to the storage. Now, you can also kind of set it up so, like, maybe you put some kids' snacks down below, or you could use this for overflow kids storage, although they've got a very nice amount of storage in the bunkhouse. That's one of the other things this does very well. And you're going to hear me repeat this trend over and over. This is built and designed by people that actually go camping, so it includes more of those family-friendly features that I think a lot of other brands miss out on. Now, all of our cabinetry is pocket screwed, and you will notice they also are now utilizing hidden hinge cabinetry throughout. So it just gives it that nice, clean look on those hardwood raised panel doors that you see here. And, I mean, it's got a sweet appearance to it. That little power outlet down below, perfect little spot next to the sofa to have a little phone charge or something. Or, frankly, if you need to run like a little vacuum or kids' toys or something. I don't know, there's always something. Now, we have a full swinging privacy door here for the bunkhouse. And in a way, this could be obviously a bunkhouse, but it could be so many more things. Like right now, I've got it in like daytime expanded living mode. You've got a gas strut holding that bed up for us, so you don't have to be a muscle-bound lug from Planet Fitness to get that thing up and down. Down below here, you've got a really interesting configuration. It's a combination of what I call an eat-and-go dinette and what I call a ConvertiCube system. I've got my own names for everything, don't I? I'm kind of realizing that. At some point, I need to finally compile and publish the RV Nerd Definitionary. It's currently slated for the 33rd of Neverwary, but neither here nor there. This can be a little bit of anything. So if you've got little littles, you triple stack the hinged cushions, and they can sit right up to that table. And you have extra feeding space, you have extra play space. If you've got big kids, well, you can give them a nice back pad here, and they're tall enough that they can still reach that thing right there. But that's kind of just not the only thing these can do. If you want to, you can kick that table out of there, and you can fold down one or both of these little ConvertiCube jobs, and those are pretty comfortable adult-sized sleepers if need be, and that's what's great. This is not good for just little kids. This is good for big kids, adult guests, whatever, and your overhead bunks in these Freedom Expresses are rated for 300 pounds. Now, I wanted to keep that flip down for just a second to look at that window. That has the same pull-down night roller shade as you have in the rest of the living area, and it tilts open for rainy day airflow like we're experiencing today. Now, part of that taller interior is taller bunks, and one of the ways they've accomplished that here is they did put a taller slide out to match the taller ceiling in there. So there is more room, you know, per bunk, top to bottom, inside and out, than most bunkhouses will typically be able to offer. Now remember I said that there's great storage in this bunkhouse. There's so much, it's actually going to take us 2 waves to catch all of it, because there is a ton here. You would be lucky in most bunkhouses if you got the dresser space of that vertical cabinet on the right side of the screen currently. But that is less than a third of the storage that we're just looking at right now, let alone what is stored below the bunks. If you are wanting to make sure the kids' stuff stays in the kids' room, because anyone who has even one child, like I have one single child, I love her to death. She is absolutely the best thing in my life. But holy cow, she owns 2/3 of all the possessions in her house, and I don't know what happened to my home. There's like nothing left of it anymore. Anyway, you also have entertainment hookups up here for the kiddos. So if you are a you know, type of parent that gives the kids rainy day entertainment space, or every now and then you need them to be back here and away from you for a sanity type of room, you can accomplish that here in the Freedom Express as well. Before we check that storage out though, I want to point out what I call the 50% larger big kid bunk. It's a normal 74-inch length, but it's about 50% wider. And where that's nice for the bigger kids, 1, they just take up more room, but 2, they can lay like crosswise, or if they lay on their side, which most of us are side sleepers, they'll have more than enough room here. Now down below, we have just got storage galorage. And notice how you have the same hidden hinges here in the bunk room. They don't scale anything up or down because of what room you're in. They're very consistent throughout all of this Freedom Express. And a very popular feature is that kid climber rock wall right there, so the kids can get themselves up and down to the bunk room without you necessarily needing to heave them. Now over here, we've got a feature Mom and Dad are going to like, and it's one of the signature calling cards of the 326 Freedom Express here at Haylett RV, is that there is a half bath built right into the bunk room. And as compared to a 310 Freedom Express, which has one all-inclusive bathroom back by the bunkhouse, this means that there is a basically a toilet next to all of the sleeping spaces, so that if someone needs to get up or down at night, they can do so locally without traipsing across the entire RV and disrupting everybody. You still have a full medicine cabinet in here, plenty of counter space for all the toothbrushes you're going to need back here, power outlets for, I don't know, whatever electric toothbrush charger your kid might need. And how about this? Both bathrooms also have a handy little laundry hamper. Just nice little details like that will enhance your day-to-day use, function, and enjoyment of this RV to a surprising degree. It's the kind of thing that a lot of people don't think about when they go camping. As we exit the bunk room, we're greeted by our sofa and once again some of that indirect lighting below, which just like the indirect lighting above the entertainment center and in those overhead cabinets, it'll be just enough that you get to see what you're doing in the evening time. So over here, I love the light, bright, but still warm and welcoming wood tones that they have going on in these Freedom Expresses. We already mentioned how there's no vents in the floor around this kitchen where you can drop food particles and this, that, and the other thing. We mentioned the bigger refrigerator, but what we haven't looked at are the counters and the cabinets. I love that they didn't waste a chance for drawers. They put drawers down to the floor here. They give you absolute maximum drawer space. And now you also have additional cabinet space like below the sink and in this wraparound area over here. And that actually does pass through. So, I mean, every little nook and cranny is accessible. In a Liberty Edition, the kitchen will gain the benefit of solid surface counters. In all other Freedom Expresses, this will be your standard countertop, which is still better than an industry standard counter. This is a sealed edge thermal foil counter, not a less expensive T-molded kind of job. It's really the same kind of material, thermal foil versus a like a Formica T-molded top, except it's been pressed together so that water can't really seep into it. But again, in a Liberty, in the kitchen area, we are going to get the benefit of that beautiful looking solid surface counter. You will find the Freedom Expresses have gone to stainless steel sinks across the board. They had a very nice sink before, a material called Stonecast, but people didn't realize it was a better material because it looked like plastic, so Freedom Express said, you know what, no sweat. We will give the people what they want, they have spoken, and we will give them stainless so that they can see the difference. And how about that huge kitchen breeze window right there. And look at the little classic Coachman details. This is old school RVing right here, guys. The little tie down so that that window shade drawstring isn't dragging across the countertop. Coachman's been doing that stuff for years. But it's shocking how there's basically about the only brand still doing it. So there is a sink cover included with this, by the way, but with the changeover to the stainless sink, since that's new, I did want to have the cover removed so you could see it. But the sink cover will basically match the solid surface counter and be flush mount to really maximize your countertop prep space, in addition to that stovetop that we just saw being kind of flush mount. Plus, you've got this nice high-rise faucet, and that is a removable sprayer-style head, by the way. So if you really need to get in here, get stuff cleaned, you can do so. Being a little bit taller means we do have bigger overhead cabinets. That is yet another great feature. And yet another great feature is the fact that Freedom Express gives us ceiling vents here that can both turn and close, so that you can always control your airflow however you want to. It's just an extra nice little thing they're doing here that's not necessarily an industry standard kind of thing. Moving on, they actually took my advice on this bathroom right here. They have been putting in, like, if you look at a lot of Freedom Express models, like say a 279 RLDS, it's got a very similar bathroom, but it has like this extra large shower. And I said, you know what, your guy's big shower is cool. Like, I love the fact that the shower is taller, because a big person like me can stand in the shower without my head in the bubble. You know, I'm like 6'3". I can stand in the shower. My head will be inside of the ceiling panels. And I love the fact that you're actually doing a shower and not a tub. That's a nice change of pace here. I like that you don't have vents in the floor. That porcelain foot flush stool is nice. Having an actual hanging towel rack over here is great. But your bathroom could have a little bit more storage. What if you shrunk the shower down a little bit instead of going all the way to the wall? What if you put a really nice big cabinet right there? And they did it. This is one of the first models they did it. They said, you know, we'll try it. We'll see what people think. So if you like what you see here, if you would like to see this expanded through other aspects of the Freedom Express family, speak up. Leave a little comment in the video description. There are several representatives of Freedom Express staff that actually watch these videos and read the comments for consumer feedback, guys. Your voice actually can be heard here. So you still have a plenty large shower that a big goofball like me can fit into. No sweat. But now we're gaining awesome linen space in here, and you notice how it actually passes into the bedroom. You can dual purpose this space. You can use it for bathroom storage, bedroom storage, a combination of the two. And you see this little goofy door down here. What is that thing? We'll come back to that in just a second. Same bat time, same bat channel. Just like the half bath. We have space for toothbrushes. We have spaces for extra toiletries. We have space for a little bit of everything in here, including yet another full medicine cabinet, not just a mirror glued against the wall. They are absolutely killing it. I think this is one of the best bathroom arrangements they've ever come up with. Now, what was on the opposite side of that wall? And that's this guy right here. It is also garnering us the ability to vastly expand the personal dry storage that we have here in the bedroom area. And that funky little door panel we looked at, well, that's yet another laundry hamper. So this thing has a front and rear laundry hamper. And how cool is that? It's simple, smart, easy, and effective. And I love every ounce of that. This is one of the best bed-bath combo jobs Freedom Express has ever come up with, in my personal view. I would love it if you left a comment and your thoughts on the topic. Anyway, full Freedom Express, being a little bit taller, means they can give us an overhead cabinet that won't bash you on the head if you sit up in bed, because it's up out of the way a little bit. Now, that new beautiful front windshield makes this bedroom, which is not the largest in the world, but it doesn't feel small by any stretch of the imagination. This also does have a 60 by 80 true queen bed. So bigger people like me, your feet won't be hanging off the foot of the bed. And obviously you might have noticed before, you can walk around this thing here. We also have large side stands with household and USB plugs on both sides, and good mirrored hanging storage space. So you have hanging space, folding space, any space and every space except for my space, because nobody does my space anymore, here in the bedroom of our Freedom Express. And the exterior is a little bit bittersweet for me, because I really liked the look of the previous generation of Freedom Express, but I really like the look of this generation of Freedom Express. They just it's funny because they've always kind of struck me as like that old dog. And not even trying to make a pun about Pete the Coachman dog on the decal up here. Freedom Express just had that sort of old dog in the industry feel where they were seasoned and grizzled and roughed up, but they were here and they were doing it. And then they come out with these things. And they totally flip the script and they get so cool and so modern and advanced and aggressive. You know, it's kind of cool and inspiring in a way what they've done. So in the Liberty Edition, we still have that full one-piece nose cap. The visible difference in the nose cap between the Liberty Edition and the Ultralite series now far less obvious than it was in the past. They both have that great looking front automotive windshield, because it is a windshield, not just a window up front. It's a much thicker, higher grade of glass. It's got like automotive style sealing and everything, so folks are, if you're worried about, you know, water coming in around the windshield, you probably don't worry about water around the windshield of your vehicle. You know, it's pretty much the same thing here. Now, on a Liberty Edition, they do change to a full power jack system, and what's kind of cool is your control panel's all right here, so there's never any bending over, squatting down, no drills getting hooked up to jacks or anything like that. It's all right here where it's accessible, and then you can key lock it so that an unruly, unsupervised neighbor kid whose parents have done a poor job raising them can't come to your campsite and mess with your jacks. Now, like all Freedom Expresses up front here, we've got that tongue-mounted spare to leave the rear bumper wide open for you should you choose to add some accessories to it. Keep it light, keep it smart, guys. Don't go nuts back there. You also see room for 2 batteries, and you see a simple battery disconnect switch right there up on the tongue, right where it's easily accessible, readily accessible, and I also see water droplets forming on my camera lens here, so pardon me while I go grab an umbrella real quick. Alright, and as far as you know, that was virtually instantaneous. You have no idea what kind of adventures I went on and the ham demon I had to fight when I went inside. Anyway, so, Liberty Edition. We talked about the full power jack system here, so there's no manual cranking of any of these jacks, although if you look down on the end of them, there is that, you see that silver hex nut sitting off the end. If you do need to manually override that, you certainly can. Now, in Liberty Edition, we're going to gain the slam latches on all of your pass-through baggage doors. You also see how we have the nice enclosed hinges on here so that, like right now, it's wet. And it's cold, but it's not freezing. Well, if it was going to get wet and freezing, water could get on those hinges, it could freeze, expand, and spring that hinge, and now you don't have to worry about that. So, I mentioned the update on the exterior here from the previous generation of Freedom Express. They had I thought, a great-looking tan white skin package with some of those Malibu blue breeze accents going on them. And I thought they looked great. I really did. But, theoretically, they will generate more heat in the camper from sun exposure than this white skin will. And that's actually one of the reasons Freedom Express a couple years ago went away from a tan skin back to, or tan nose at least, to a white nose. They found that their bedroom temperatures went down dramatically, and they thought, you know, why did we stop there? Why don't we just, you know, do it all the way? Now, quick note on this one. It is a 2 sewer outlet. Here's our black and gray tanks for the bathroom. And back there is the gray, behind the wheels, is the gray and black exhaust for the like rear bath and half. And I'm not sure which one of these that the kitchen directly feeds to. I believe it is this front one, but I'm guessing right now just based on the way some of the pipes are pointing. The fact is, though, it does have 2 sewer outlets. Just want to point that out. I don't think it's really a big deal. Some folks get really weirded out by it. I'd rather just get the elephant out of the room. If you're going to be weirded out by it, let's be weirded out by it now instead of after you drive all the way here. And we do have, obviously, black tank flush here to get that, you know, main bathroom all flushed out. Wide stance stability axles. Very important on a model like this, because it's very likely you could have a half-ton pickup with the weight ratings to handle the weight of this RV. But this thing's long, and more and more and more people are wanting shorter and shorter and shorter half-tons to get better turning radius and, you know, a little comfortable daily drive. Something to think about, though. The tighter your turning radius, the easier it is for the trailer to cause sway onto the vehicle. So, those wide stance axles on a longer trailer like this one will do wonders to keeping you shooting straight and narrow down the road. And it's funny, because whether it's Freedom Express or Passports or White Hawks or any of the other number of brands that we carry here at Haylett RV with wide stance axles, there's a commonality between feedback from RV delivery drivers. Man, this thing tows nice. I hear it all the time from different drivers of different trailers. It's just a consistent thing. It works, and it works well. And another thing that Freedom Express does that works really well, they are just absolutely awesome about keeping all of their, hookups all in one centralized location. Now, I mentioned up front there's a black tank flush for the main bathroom. There's another black tank flush for the half bathroom. And that's a really important thing to note because it's quite surprising how many brands will build a 2-bath or bath and a half model and not include a second black tank flush. I don't know if they just don't think about it or what, but one of the differences I've noted on Freedom Expresses over the years, and one of the reasons I'm such a big fan of them personally, to the point that actually some of the other manufacturers that we carry here, their representatives have criticized me for being too complimentary of Freedom Express compared to some of the other brands that we carry here, because I personally see the value in them. I get what they're doing. It makes sense. As a person who, this is made by people who go camping, and that's the difference. They're not just designed. They're made by people that go camping, and it shows. And things like that second black tank flush are big indicators of that. Also, though, we've got a just absolute feature-loaded campsite camper here. And despite all the talking I've done, there's a couple more big hitter features over here we got to zero in on. First of all, Freedom Express, I personally feel, does one of the best full-size outside kitchens out there. They do a couple simple, small things a little bit different from brand X, and there are some other brands that touch on certain facets here, but I think that overall Freedom Express gets it done arguably pretty much the best. So we've got a nice full-size, full-height outside cabinet here where, you know, you've got all kinds of room for extra spice rubs or bug sprays or whatever. More of that sealed edge countertop stuff, easy reach appliance outlets, and a real sink with a real drain. Now below that we have another utensil drawer down here with another of these removable inserts. So if you want to take that insert over to the picnic table that is included in the front pass-through that we will see in a minute, you're good to go. Now you also have a free-floating Coleman camp stove. This is a far higher output grill system that is again free-floating. If you want to move this around, you don't want to cook under the overhead outside kitchen door, you don't have to. And take a look at this. Look at the level change from the countertop down to the refrigerator level so that the kids can actually reach their bug juice or whatever, and mom and dad can keep the adult drinks maybe a little bit up higher with a layer of bottled water in the middle to kind of, you know, break up the monotony, as it were. And then just, hey, a little bit of extra bonus storage above, because why waste it, you know? That's the thing. They do a very good job of utilizing all space in a very intelligent, logical fashion without wasting a darn thing. Now, we looked at them inside, but we got those camp windows, camp side windows, as it were, all around that super slide. And something they did here. This is an area where I've seen a lot of other brands stumble with a door side super slide. A lot of times, a brand will not think, or they won't go to the extra effort to include a second awning, and they'll put one big awning over the top of the super slide. Now, there are some benefits to it, but I also know that most people prefer to not have their patio awning space eaten up by a slide. Well, now, instead of losing awning space, we're actually getting a net gain of awning space because we go to 2 power awnings, both of which have an auto rain dump feature, both of which have tilt and lock awning arms. So there's a lot of good things going on here. That larger entry handle and the now standard LCI stable step, making for easier come and go, always crowd favorite features. We do have outside TV hookups there under the skirting. Now over here, that little black box in the bottom left corner next to the baggage door, that is our outside side mount solar prep. And this thing gives us a huge front cavity, begging you to put all kinds of this, that, and the other thing, like from totes to an included portable picnic table stored up there. And notice too how Freedom Express gives us full-length pass-through lighting. I really like that they do that because you don't use just one side or the other of the pass-through, you use all of the pass-through. So isn't it a little bit nicer that you can actually access all of the pass-through? It just kind of, you know, makes a little bit more sense, doesn't it? Plus, the magnet holdbacks on those slam latch doors that you find on the Liberty Edition here, getting in and out of that is one hand simple and easy. Now you see that awning closing itself up there. Inside is Mr. Jody Van Loo, who is one of our surface level inspection agents and part specialist here at Haylett RV. Before we even let this thing off the RV delivery driver's truck, which you actually see up front here, we go through and we do a full surface level inspection to make sure that there's nothing that, you know, needs to maybe potentially go back to the factory to get worked on. We make sure these things are right before they get here, and then after that we'll actually pull it over here into the shop, complete a full burn on all the appliances to make sure those are in good working order, and then before you take it at home, we do it all over again, just to eliminate as much, you know, concern, anything as possible, to try to do the best we can to guarantee you a problem-free trip out there, because that's kind of the whole point, you know. And for anything else, that's why we have phones and we answer those calls and schedule appointments to work things out. But we do the best we can to make sure you have a good product going out the door here at Haylett RV. Now, I'm up top here because this has a walkable roof, which not everything does. Most things do, but not everything. I also wanted to point out a couple little key detail facts here, like this, you see this big upside down black bucket looking thing, that's your Winegard Air 360 antenna, so you don't have to crank the antenna up or down here. You can just perform a channel scan, and when you get to your destination, you're good to go. They also have the good presence of mind, and it's part of the reason this thing has reverted back to a full white skin package. These black discs right here, those are attic vents, so the air gap between the interior ceiling panel and exterior 3/8 walkable roof decking that I'm on right now, it's called your attic, and it can just store a ton of heat. Well, here in this Freedom Express, that heat can actually get out and breathe a little bit, which is also a pretty nice thing. So, I mean, a lot of good stuff going on. We're obviously on top of it, both figuratively and literally, right now, here at Haylett RV. And whether it's hitching, pieces, parts, trades, finance, truck and trailer package deals, RV delivery, and everything else in between, we do it all at Haylett RV, but we do not do hidden dealer fees. We leave that to those big box stores, just not our thing here. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.